said, my name is Francisco. I'm the co-founder and CEO of CTS. Quick intro about our company. The company is based in New York City. The whole founding team and big part of the operational team comes from IBM. In my case, I was working as business analytics leader for the sales transaction support centers of IBM in Europe. In Europe here, we have two partners. On the one hand, Factum Group has exclusivity in Spain, and here in France, we are operating through Wheel. So those are our two partnerships in Europe. Then as well, we have done collaborations in Germany with integration success, more in the area of mergers and acquisitions. Typically, we work with Global 2000 and Fortune 500 companies, and we have experience implementing projects across different continents. So let's talk a little bit about organizational network analysis. Our company focuses, on the one hand, on organizational network analysis, ONA, and also on organizational restructuring. So I guess most of you have heard about ONA. Let's give a bit more detailed overview about this method. ONA is basically a people analytics method that allows you to visualize and analyze how employees interact with each other in an organization. Nowadays, it's one of the hottest trends in people analytics. Actually, Insight 222 ran a survey where ONA had been identified as the people analytics method that most HR and people analytics leaders wanted to learn more about. And based on the insights from Josh Bersin, in 2018, already 48% of companies were experimenting with ONA. Which is a really great timing to go into this area. In our case, we focus on three main capabilities. On the one hand, we work with active organizational network analysis, which refers to the implementation of ONA based on an online survey. This is typically the first project that we do with companies, the first contact that they have with ONA. Then we work as well with passive organizational network analysis, which refers to the implementation of ONA through the analysis of the employee digital footprint. You can analyze the API from a wide variety of collaborative tools. The most common use case is email communication, but you can do it as well with Jira, with GitHub, with Jammer. And typically we recommend companies to jump into passive ONA after they have completed an active ONA project. You usually use active ONA as a quick win to demonstrate executives the business value of ONA, and by the time that you run a passive ONA project, you have already exposure to the technology, and it's much easier to deal with IT and compliance departments. I guess that many of you here today are working on data lake creation, development of HR dashboards. So in that context, active ONA presents an opportunity to run a really simple project. In 4 weeks, it's implemented. From the moment that you run the survey until the moment that you start using the platform is only 4 weeks. And you have like no headache dealing with IT and compliance departments. There are almost no internal requirements. The third capability we work with is organizational restructuring simulation. This is a technology that we have developed at CTS that is pending on a patent at the moment. And what it does is to simulate at employee level organizational restructuring scenarios such as mergers, acquisitions, and internal reorganizations. So it's an algorithm that lets you know who you should keep in the organization and where you should reallocate them in the context of a restructuring initiative. And that accelerates and improves decision making in this type of context. Okay? If you have any doubt, please, or any question, feel free to interrupt me at any time. This will be an example of the data gathering process in active ONA. It's, as I said, very simple exercise. It's an online survey where employees will indicate who they are interacting with based on a number of informal interactions. For each of these interactions, you will type the names of the colleagues you interact with, and the tool will suggest the names that match what you are typing. Very simple survey, 5 to 10 minutes to complete. The survey is running for 2 weeks. You have low dependency on participation, because even if a person is on vacation or is demotivated, that person doesn't complete the survey. If another peer indicates that is interacting with that person that hasn't completed the survey, that person will still be reflected in the results. Yet, because we have an effective system of reminders, typically we have a level of participation between 75 to 85%. Even in large companies that typically have a level of participation between 50 and 60%. In the case of passive ONA, you have much wider range of scenarios. You can integrate APIs from a wide variety of collaborative tools, email platforms like Outlook or Gmail, Jira, GitHub, Jammer, social networks, CRM. Here what is important is to have very clear what you want to achieve. You don't want to go into a mode where you're just capturing data without having a clear objective. That's the mistake that many companies do nowadays. Advantages of passive ONA: you can get real-time insights because you can refresh the data on a regular basis. It's easy to scale in large organizations that have dozens or hundreds of thousands of employees. And you can integrate simultaneously APIs from multiple tools. But again, we strongly encourage companies to do passive ONA only after they have experimented with active ONA. What do companies use ONA for? Well, the most common use cases is the identification of informal leaders. When you identify informal leaders, there is a very interesting study run by a company called Innovisor that is called the 3% rule. What this rule says is that if you identify the 3% of informal leaders and you turn them into early adopters of any type of strategic change, whether it is the rollout of a CRM, implementation of other methodologies, SAP, restructuring, whatever strategic change, that 3% can influence up to 85% of the remaining population. And that way you can accelerate in a significant manner the adoption of these strategic changes. Another use case that is quite interesting is the acceleration of the time to productivity of new hires. Third common use case, identification and mitigation of organizational silos and bottlenecks. We have integrated in our platform an algorithm that automatically identifies these silos and bottlenecks and provides you customized recommendations on how to mitigate them. Fourth use case that is becoming very trendy now, diversity and inclusion. You can use organizational network analysis to assess how diverse and inclusive are the networks of leaders in your organization by coloring the nodes based on strategic metrics like, for example, age segments or gender. This way you can incentivize the leaders in your organization to create inclusive and diverse networks and integrate this into their strategic objectives. This is an example of our platform. It's called Cognitive Network Analyzer. This would be an example of active ONA. The setup for passive ONA is pretty similar. Basically, what you have here on the right is a table where the employees are categorized. This would be an example of a visualization in the platform. Very interactive visualization. You can track the employees and see in real time how they influence their peers. You can color the nodes based on different metrics, and we are very flexible with the integration of different filters. Another interesting thing about this platform is that it's a prescriptive platform. You can get customized recommendations that let you know how the level of influence of the employees compares with the expectations. Not the same if you're an informal leader being a manager with 20 years of experience, or if you're a non-managerial employee with 1 year of experience in the company. The tool will suggest you skill development actions based on the specific interactions you excel at and roles that might be a good match for your profile. Let's go very quickly. I have 2 minutes left, so let's go to the case studies. Case study with Securitas. Here they had a leadership development program, 500 people nominated by the managers as high performers. They use ONA as a filter so that the people that would join the leadership development program were simultaneously informal leaders identified by their peers and high performers identified by the managers, right? It changed in a significant manner the results that they had previously obtained. They also use it to accelerate the rollout of Workday. In this case, by leveraging the informal leaders, they can get an outreach 40% higher than the ones that they would get through the managerial roles. And they also use it to accelerate the time to productivity of new hires. Speaking about case studies with specific and tangible results, application of organizational restructuring simulation in a multi-billion-dollar merger in the telecom industry, done with our partner Integration Success in Germany. This was a $1.8 billion merger. We ran organizational network analysis, identified informal leaders, and then applied our proprietary algorithm so they could know what employees they should keep in the company and where to reallocate them. Basically, the work that typically, or the level of insights that typically they would have got with 300 people working full-time in the integration team during a period of 2 years, they got it with our technology in 2 weeks. And these are the results documented by our partner, consulting company with 30 years of experience in integration. $63 million in cost avoidance savings, accounting for 3% of the deal value, and 80% reduction of undesired employee turnover. Why such a big reduction in turnover? Because in the context of restructuring initiatives, people leave because of the level of uncertainty. They know something's going to happen with their job. They don't know what's going to happen, who is going to decide it, and based on what criteria and when it's going to happen. And in that situation, most common scenario is that they find another place to go. That's all from our side. Katerina and myself are going to be here today and tomorrow as well. If you want a deeper dive, feel free to reach out to us through LinkedIn, grab a business card. Feel free to reach out at any time as well to any of our two partners, Wheel in France and Factoring in Spain. Thanks a lot, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.